Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Modern Warzone Weekly podcast. This is episode number 9, technically. I'll explain that in a second. I'm GrandmasterGojj. This is Dagnabbit, aka Modern Warzone, and we are here for a good time and a long time tonight. Thanks for tuning in on the live stream or the podcast platform. This is going to be a lot of fun. Doug, we got a lot to talk about, but of course, can you kind of give our audience, or especially our audio listeners, a little bit of update of where we're at and what we're doing?
Yeah, we have completely moved over to YouTube for good. We're going to be here every single Thursday. Usually it's going to be earlier on in the day around 2 p.m. after the updates go live, but with the new season going live last night, I was up all night, so we pushed the podcast back a bit. Every single Thursday, you're going to have a direct upload right here, and it will be trimmed shortly after, and it will be right here for forever. It will never get taken down, and you will no longer have to worry about daily uploads, because right after the stream goes live, it'll be published as a video, and then it'll get pushed out to our podcast app. So thank you for being patient with us, and thank you for sticking around for the big gap of uploads. It was quite a while, so this is a great step in the right direction for Modern Warzone Weekly. To the moon,
Let's go. Hey, I'm super excited about it. Last little house cleaning thing. Yes, we reorganized the episode numbers. So if you are only listening via audio and you haven't had an episode in 5 weeks, and now we're giving you episode 8 and now 9, yeah, it's confusing. The reason we decided to do that, it was just kind of keep the congruency and keep you guys up to date. So we're here. This is episode 9. Last episode was episode 8. And then the 3 or 4 or 5 before that weren't uploaded to audio will be posted as bonus episodes all kind of around the next couple weeks or so, but they won't be episode titles. So it's really simple. Just follow the episodes in order to stay on top of kind of your weekly news, if you will. Okay, we got a brand new overlay over here at the YouTube we're really excited about. So again, our YouTube channel is Modern Warzone Weekly on YouTube. So go check it out as we're posting all of our VOD content over there. But let's get started. Nobody really cares, to be totally frank with you. They care about Season 6 of Warzone. It's here. We talked about it last time, and it's here officially. And well, there was a lot that happened last night. I actually went to bed early, and there's a lot that happened last night that was kind of chaotic. So do you want to start with, we've already kind of gone through the patch notes, so do you want to start with what happened literally last night when the new season dropped?
The map was completely changed. Everything dropped in. I feel like you're pushing me to say something. I'm not sure.
I'm baiting you to say the thing about Vanguard guns and tin attachments. I feel like we should just start there.
Yeah, we probably should just start there. Yeah, Vanguard guns were available as soon as the update was pushed out. You could see them it was only the M1 Garand and the STG-44, but you could actually go into Warzone private matches and put 10 attachments total on them. The difference being between Vanguard and the way it works in Warzone is I didn't see any fire bullets. I didn't see any of that craziness or frangible rounds and stuff like that on the guns. And even with the STG with 10 attachments on it, which, by the way, everyone, if you're new to Warzone, let me inform you of something. When these things happen, they're going to stay in the game because hackers have an unlock all tool that if anything is in the game files, it's theirs. So you're going to see and be shot by a lot of Vanguard weapons with 10 attachments on them. Gojj, I can't believe you slept through all this going crazy.
Yeah, okay. We don't need to talk about this right now because we're going to talk about it at the end of the podcast, but I stayed up way late into the night when the Battlefield beta dropped, and then I couldn't get my controller working. It was a whole nightmare. And again, we'll talk about that at the end of the episode because people want to talk about Warzone. But yeah, I was exhausted. I had 3 hours of sleep. I was like, I've got to go to bed and I'll figure it out in the morning. But of course, I miss Vanguard weapons in Warzone. I miss 10 attachments. I miss the literally people running around with the STG and the M1 Garand. What are we talking about? But yeah, so this happened. And then they removed custom games entirely because that's where you use them from the game. So there's literally no custom games right now, right?
Yeah, there is no private matches right now, and they didn't make an announcement about it. They didn't tell anybody they were taking them off. They've done this before. I haven't checked today to see if they're back up.
No, they're not.
They'll probably just randomly pop back up, honestly. They probably won't say anything about it because we won't dive deep into this yet, but there's a lot being said behind the scenes about what these two guns popping up actually means.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of conversation to be had with that, but one of the interesting things about custom games being removed is certainly, hey, there's a $100,000 custom games tournament hosted by Optic tomorrow. So whether or not they'll be up by then, that's an interesting question. I will say we have seen with World Series of Warzone in the past that, hey, they just whitelist players as well if they really wanted to. So they'll probably do that tomorrow, considering it's Optic. But hey, who knows? We'll see.
I think that they would have the private matches back up.
Yeah, maybe. Well, I mean, all I know is them removing custom games basically set the entire Twitterverse on fire last night. So I woke up and it was like everybody was in a panic because guns, attachments, hackers, and custom games were gone. It was just a lunacy. So I was blown away. But let's go through the patch notes. There's some new things in here we need to talk about, some nerfs, some buffs, etc., as well as some playlists in particular. So brand new reveal, audio listeners, I'm sorry, but brand new reveal of the other page. You guys can actually go through the patch notes with us, which is awesome based on our new overlay. So here you go.
Actually super dope.
But you want to start with playlists and talk about each week of playlists that are coming up and how exciting they are?
Yeah, we can talk about that for sure. Update is coming on October 6th. It's actually already October 7th if you're listening to this podcast. But what we're talking about right now is all of the new playlists that are coming up. And they've been doing this for a while. They've been making Twitter posts that include little snippets of this before they actually let everybody read the blog. And it's the next 4 weeks, so an entire month of what's coming in Warzone. And there's some very interesting things coming. And it's mainly two different things. The first is that Iron Trials is first showing back up as a weekend exclusive playlist, Gojj, and it's not just Iron Trials, but it's Iron Trials quads. Previously, we only had duos.
Right.
And then the next weekend, it's Iron Trials trios. And then the next week, it's Iron Trials duos. And then the final weekend, it's Iron Trials solos. And the other interesting thing about the playlist update is that there is a new playlist called Scopes and Scatter Guns, which is not really new, but it is new to Rebirth Island. It's basically shoddy snipers. You get shotguns, you also can get a crossbow, and you can get snipers. And I think we talked about this a few episodes ago about this potentially coming to Warzone, but it's got some new rule sets for it on Rebirth Island that we'll talk about more in just a second as we go more through into the patch notes.
Yeah, it's an interesting ad. It's an exciting ad for a lot of people. I know the competitive community and the community at large really enjoys Iron Trials, and of course, everybody's been crying for quads and trios as this game mode, and it's cool to see that not only have they worked on it for these individual game modes, think that it can actually transfer between solos, duos, trios, and quads, but it also is exciting to think, hey, maybe this is a potential ranked mode and all the things that we've talked about in previous episodes. But if you're an audio listener and you've only been an audio listener, maybe you've missed some of those conversations. And well, the basis of the conversation is, hey, Iron Trials could theoretically be the foundations of a ranked mode coming to Warzone after Vanguard is integrated into the game. So we'll see on that. But Iron Trials has been a lot of fun. Everybody loved it. It was extremely positively received. Only a few changes here and there. I'll be curious to see once it actually releases, I guess tomorrow, if there are any changes or if it's the same old game mode, just quads. And I'm going to assume it probably will be. But yeah, overall, Twitter was buzzing about how exciting this was in particular.
Yeah, it actually is really exciting. I didn't think that they were just going to straight up tell us. I thought they'd make a big deal about it, Right. It's actually allowing people to get their teams together with the quads and trios and solos at the end. And it just screams, it just makes it even more apparent that this is ranked. Like it's really what they're working on moving forward. They want to give these little test periods for each game mode. Do you remember way back when Warzone came out and it was only trios? There was no duos, and then they added quads, and then there was no duos, and they added solos, and there were still no duos.
Yeah, and then duos was eventually added, so it's kind of funny that it's just kind of happening in reverse. Something that's worth noting about it is that whatever game mode it's being played that week, or that weekend, excuse me, because it's weekend exclusive for week of October 7th, week of October 14th, the week of October 21st, it's its own playlist as duos, I believe. Yes, that's correct, for the entire week, and then week of October 28th, it's just the weekend again, and that's the solos one. So it goes quads, trios, duos, solos in the next 4 weeks. Whatever week that game mode entails, or that weekend, depending, takes over the normal game mode. So that weekend, this upcoming weekend, you can't play normal quads. You can only play Iron Trials quads. This is kind of a minimal, change. It's not that big of a deal, but at the same time, it's worth noting that this weekend you won't be able to play normal quads. Next weekend you won't be able to play normal trios. Next week you won't be able to play normal duos, and then the following weekend you won't be able to play normal solos. But hey, everybody loves, not everybody, most people love Iron Trials, so it's still an exciting thing to say the least.
Of course, you're going to see people complain about it, but they're a very small number.
I totally agree. Something else worth noting on this page too, Doug, is that the week of October 21st and the week of October 28th, they have like listed on this graphic like Battle Royale, solos, trios, quads, iron trials, duos. They also have a pumpkin, and that's it. Just a pumpkin. So I'm assuming that's our Halloween event, yeah?
Yeah, that's our Halloween event, the Haunting. They've already released the dates for it, and I put out a tweet last night. Just going to talk about it just a little bit. It's actually going to be called The Ghost of Verdansk. It's not going to be called The Haunting Part 2 or whatever. The Ghost of Verdansk. And there's actually a lot of cool things coming about it. It's not going to be the exact same experience, but it's going to be rooted in that original Haunting of Verdansk feel. And I'm actually very excited for it. I mean, that was one of the funnest times of Warzone. I will say, I do remember I started complaining a bit on like the last day or two because there wasn't like regular VR besides night mode and all that. And yeah, hopefully that doesn't happen this time. Hopefully I realize how fun this is and stop bitching.
I respect that. Well, we'll move on from that. I will say the weekend exclusive modes replace their core battle mode squad size equivalent, which is what I said, from Friday 10 a.m. Pacific, so 12 noon Central Time, until Monday 10 a.m. Pacific. So technically you can play from Friday around midday till Monday around midday, just FYI. New battle pass dropped. I don't think we really need to talk about the battle pass. Is there anything you wanted to say about the battle pass, Doug, besides it was maybe a little lackluster?
I thought it was kind of mid. It was kind of mid. There's not really that great of a reactive bundle in it. I forget which one it is. It's tier 95
new shotgun, right?
Yeah, and the new shotgun, just to let every single person here know, is butt cheeks, as well as the Grav rifle. If you follow Modern Warzone on Twitter, I definitely posted a video of the recoil with no attachments yet, and I understand you can put attachments on it and maybe make it from butt cheeks into a butt cheek, like left or right cheek. But it's still very bad. The rifle is jumpy, it bounces all over the place. It's listed in, I used it in Cold War as well. Now I went and played some Cold War multiplayer for the first time last night, and I feel like somebody needs to pat me on the back for that, because it's been a while since I touched that game. And it wasn't that bad on there. So the thing is, I think it's kind of messed up right now. I think it may be suffering from the same issue that the Cold War AK-47 originally had, where its recoil was just insane. And they ended up patching that and fixing it, because the recoil pattern is almost the exact same as the Cold War AKs was.
Yeah,
it's trash though. Don't touch it. Don't bother. I mean, you might want to level it. They're definitely going to want it to be good eventually.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I would say it's ground loot too. This new ground loot, by the way, the season's actually pretty solid. I will say, I actually really like the ground loot. However, the Grav is absolute trash. I tried to shoot that thing. I thought it was like, when I picked it up, I didn't recognize it was the Grav. I thought it was just like an AK or something. And I was in the middle of a fight, and I turned and tried to like tweak on a kid who's on a heady, and it just went boom, 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 boom. And I was like aiming at the sky. I was like, "What in God's green earth is this thing?" It was worse than like that crazy weird AK armory gun that has horrid recoil. I can't even remember what name it is, but regardless, yeah. Anyways, Grav sucks. There's some decent stuff for it in the battle pass, but it's a terrible gun. The shotgun I haven't even touched. It seems weird. I will say the level 9900 or whatever, the Aurora Borealis Ultra Mason skin, looks actually pretty cool. It's like ultra, like his backpack's like a glowing, like,
it's like Fortnite Galaxy skin.
Yeah,
everyone.
exactly.
That's what it looks like. It looks good though, but I wish it was like majority of the skin and not just the backpack.
Yep, totally agree.
Yeah.
Scopes and scatterguns, you said we mentioned it. Let's talk about it. It's on Rebirth. It has been in Warzone before, I believe, but this time it is in Rebirth, and it says, here's the technical description: get up close and personal, deal death from afar, spend a lifetime reloading between bolts. The choice is yours. Scopes and scatterguns returns to Warzone with a new twist. Rebirth Resurgence, so this mode builds upon a map. Rebirth Resurgence is like there's more people on the map. It used to be like 90, which was insane. That might have been extreme. I don't know. Wait, no, Rebirth Resurgence is the normal one. I'm an idiot. It's just Resurgence. God, I was excited that it was going to be extreme. Extreme's where they have like 90 players on it. Rebirth Resurgence is literally normal Rebirth. I just don't think about it in terms of Resurgence. I'm stupid. That just means you respawn. Anyways, let's keep moving. The loot table will only include shotguns, sniper rifles, and crossbows. They give you the tip, great tip, aim true, operator. Thank you, Raven. I appreciate that. Okay, shut up, Doug. No
I'm
loadouts.
just asking.
No free loadouts and no purchasable loadout in the buy station. So you have to scavenge shotgun, snipers, and crossbows. And the new starting weapon is the 1911. No, just kidding. The thematic Marshall instead of a 1911. That's the normal 1911 is what you fly in on. Instead, you're going to be flying in with the Marshall, which is the double barrel like pistol shotgun that is terrible.
Butt cheeks.
But hey, it is a shotgun. So yeah, that's the mode. I completely butchered that read. What do you think about this mode?
I think that it's going to be It might be good because it's on Rebirth this time. It was definitely not fun on regular Verdansk. You can imagine it's the only opportunities you have to fight somebody's sitting there and camping and sniping, or you can go up to them, try to get close to them and shoot them in the face, but they'll probably snipe you before you get there. So it wasn't a pleasant experience there. I could see it being a lot of fun, like in the prison area of Rebirth Island, like when Circle's in there. That could be really fun.
Yeah, I think it could. It's like a gimmick game. Like I'd go play it once or twice and be like, haha, and then move on. I mean, I like using crossbows sometimes, and sniping is fun, I guess. Shotguns are the worst. So yeah, we'll move on from that game mode. Not super excited about it, but regardless, it's there if you want to go have different experience. But map, hey, Verdansk, like we mentioned, of course, has changed. The downtown area, or at least part of the downtown area, I would kind of wager it to be around, or guesstimate it to be around a fourth or so of downtown, has been like leveled, fallen, and there's cracks and fissures and pipes that I wish you could climb through like Mario, all around that downtown area. What were your first impressions of the downtown area? And then we'll kind of talk about the POIs.
Well, I was live on stream doing all this, and my internet finally got it downloaded, hopped in there, and immediately went through all the downtown stuff, and I just realized, like, yo, this ain't... It feels the exact same. There's still verticality all surrounding that area. So if you're caught out in the open, maybe if you're down in one of the pipes, but there's cover elements in the like underground areas, but they're few and far between, and they're on the left or right side. So if somebody has verticality on you, you're still getting clapped. So not as big of a change. I was speculating that I thought, based on the way the cutscene looked, it looked like the fissure came from the front of the stadium, but you can see here it's on the side a little bit, and the one that comes out of downtown doesn't cross the street. It like either pushes you towards that other orange building, or it pushes you towards the right where you have to go all the way around to get to stadium. So it didn't change as much to me. Inside of stadium felt a lot better to have gunfights at than it did previously. There's actually like different elements there. There can be a team down low, there can be a team in the stands, there can be a team all the way up on the top rafters and stuff. So I think it's good for stadium, but at the same time, within 20 minutes, I was like,
yeah.
I still don't want to go anywhere near that area in any game.
The best way I can describe it is this: I was in downtown playing today. I get to this area, and it didn't feel new, even though I had never seen it before, and I don't really know why.
Yeah,
it felt like the same game. Like you were 100% right with the way you said that. Like it was like, oh, this is really cool, and then it like wasn't after about 30 seconds. So if I could crawl through the pipes like Mario and like teleport to somewhere else on the map, I'd be in on that. But then again, that's basically just a red door. So, but yeah, I mean, I like you said, I don't know if it actually provides real cover from the surrounding buildings, and it's basically surrounded. It's kind of like a death pit area. Like it almost isn't helpful to go into. So I don't know. At least they changed the map a little bit. It's funny.
Yeah.
We can complain about anything, but
at least they did something. It's not going to be here that much longer, anyways.
Yeah, exactly. Did you get a chance to look at the bunkers?
I did. That was one of the first things I did. So we've been talking about this for a while, or at least I had. I don't see many other people talk about it, but those big red shipping container formations you saw throughout the map that were loud as hell for no reason, just made a ton of noise.
Yeah, the radio station things, so they're like mobile broadcast stations.
I think they were like no, not those, not the mobile broadcast stations. These like red shipping containers. There was one in the middle of stadium as well, but it doesn't have a bunker underneath it because it got broken weird. But they were being used to like dig holes in the ground as like the story element of it. And that's how you go underneath into these bunkers. So anywhere where those were, besides the one at Stadium, and I think one more that was at downtown and got leveled as well, those all have bunkers underneath them. These are not the bunkers that we went into last year during Pond Takes Pond before Black Ops Cold War. These are way different. They're actually really, really big. They're all pretty much, I went in like 3 different ones and they were all structured the same. But I went from one end and then it had an exit on the other end where you could just walk in. And it was 125 meters from where I'd went in.
Wow.
So it was a lot bigger than I was expecting down there.
Yeah.
And there's a good bit of loot.
That's I actually haven't had a chance to go down there. I kind of forgot they existed when I played some today. I didn't play a ton, so good to know that that's interesting to go through. Is it one entry like in one exit?
So the ones it has like there's definitely a map out there on the internet, or I'll make one myself here soon and put it out there. But there were those red shipping container things, and anywhere that they were, there is an entrance that has like where it was dug in like a really small hole, just where a rappel can fit in. You either can rappel or you can jump down and pull your chute. That's what I did. And that's one way in. And then in both the ones I was in, you could go out on the other end from just walking in where there was like a new hole in the ground.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah. That's good. It's not a one entryway and one exit way like the old bunkers where it's just a death trap. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you can go back up out the way you came in on the rappel as well.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. We mentioned this new gulag. It's basically the same showers that we know and love. Pretty symmetrical. First impressions feel good. Feel the same.
Yeah, it feels the same. It already has people complaining about it again. I mean, I understand if you have an opinion that you don't like it, but I don't know what they're supposed to do. I don't think the gulag is ever going to be something that people are happy about, because it's where your match is either won or lost. Like, you either have to go sit down afterwards or you get to chill and dive back in.
Yeah, I mean, can we talk about like this gulag in particular? If you're complaining about this gulag, what are you possibly complaining about?
This gulag encourages sound whoring, in my opinion.
Yeah, but it's a 3-lane gulag that's perfectly symmetrical. Like, you basically can't complain about it unless it's that idea of like, well, hey, we want something different than sound whoring and playing angles and all that good stuff, which is, to be honest with you, the way a gulag should be played. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, it is a fair fight. It's a fair fight, so you can't really complain about it that much. They did, like we've talked about, they did change the sinks, so you can't like jump up and get that cross map peak where you see those bars at above the spawn area. You can't do that anymore. So it is a straight up, you got to pick the lane you're going to aim down sights on. And but I do think it still suffers from some lighting issues right there. Like, you can even see it in the picture, like where that dark shadow is on the left side. If a guy were to lay there, like sometimes you can't see them at all. So hopefully I think with the new Warzone map and going to Warzone Pacific, I mean, it's going to have its own version of a gulag.
Sure.
I definitely hope that the lighting changes, that it obviously has lighting changes outside. I hope that they look the same in indoor environments.
Yeah. If you guys are, can you comment on a podcast, Doug? Is that a thing? No, I don't think so.
I don't know.
Anyways, if you're watching this on YouTube, comment down below what your favorite gulag is. I'm always curious. I see some people in the live chat saying their favorite. I'm just always curious what people's favorite gulags are, because I feel like everybody has a different opinion. The majority probably thinks the OG gulag, but the question will be after the next week or so, 2 weeks, if people are still saying that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll be curious.
They won't be, and then eventually they'll all want to go back to one of the other like 5, 6, 7 we've had. It's just the COD cycle, man. It affects every part of Call of Duty.
Okay, loot across Verdansk has been adjusted. New gulag loadouts. That's not true. I mean, I guess it is. I got a ballistic knife today, so F me, I guess. I don't know. New ground and supply box loot. Great. The Grav and the 410 Ironhide new shotgun have been added to the ground loot as well. Plunder respawn behavior has been updated to provide players with more dynamic infiltrations. Thanks. The RCXD kill streak has been removed from all modes. Nice. What do you think about the ground loot this season thus far?
I think that it's okay. I mean, I haven't spent that much time in the Warzone. I actually did go and play the new zombies map and all that too. One thing I do want to talk about that I went and looked for on the new points of interest, they don't have it mentioned because they didn't change it, but we're on season 6 of Cold War, and we've had the Verdansk 1984 map for how long? And since they released that map, their very first blog about it was talking about the salt mines and the mines over on the top left part of the map that nobody ever goes to for any reason. They're still not open. There's no sign of life, intelligent life anywhere over there. There's nothing happening. So I went and checked all of them. I went to salt mines too. There's nothing happening up there. So at this point, I feel like they have to do something with it because it's just already set up to be done with. Like there's stuff inside of those. We've seen people get in there. I would say that this might have something to do with something bigger towards the end of the entirety of Verdansk.
Sure.
At this point, either that or Season 6 Reloaded. But we can go back into what we were just talking about with the ground loot. So it's okay. I mean, I've seen a lot of people on Twitter have said that they've enjoyed it more than last season, that there's a much more guns don't have magazine capacity issues when you just pick them up off the ground, regardless of their rarity. And that's definitely something that's good.
Yeah, I think from the competitive side of things, people enjoy having guns that they can at least fight with. Like when you pick up a gray Tech 9 or like a white DMR, every other gun, it's kind of frustrating. But when you're now picking up MP5s and some of these more semi-automatic, or excuse me, fully automatic weapons that you can at least fight with, it feels better already. You can find Kriegs, ARs, all kinds of stuff. But one thing I will say about the ground loot that was kind of understated in these notes that I didn't really even notice the first time reading that until I played today, the visual style of all the loot cards has been updated, which makes a ton of sense and not something I even really thought about. Number one, it just looks different. It's like a gray border kind of with a color outlining it. You'll have to just see it to know what I'm talking about. But they've added information about the fire type of each weapon on those loot cards. So if you observe if a weapon is you can see if a weapon is automatic, semi-automatic, or burst before actually picking it up. And I think this is actually a massive quality of life change with Vanguard coming, because there's going to be an insane amount of guns theoretically, and there's probably going to be new players coming in saying, I've never seen this gun before because I started playing this during Vanguard, or I haven't seen this gun in 2 years, I can't remember what it does, or this is a Vanguard weapon, what the heck is this thing? You know what I mean? So I think this is actually a really big quality of life change for like the future of the game.
Yeah, and it definitely also helps with times where you have weapons that have different firing modes that they may be defaulted to, like the Tech 9, when you would pick it up and you get the semi-auto versus the full auto. Definitely helps you a lot to be able to pick those up. I think that any quality of life improvement is something that people quickly forget about, but those improvements don't go unnoticed from me. I really appreciate stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're thinking about their future competitive or future player base, which is nice.
Yeah, and then moving forward, we have just a ton of different bug fixes, and I'm not sure there's anything in there specifically.
Yeah, I scrolled past most of those. I think the one like notable ones to mention, if you kind of follow Twitter, is the Swiss Armory reticle is off.
Yeah,
it was off, and they finally fixed that. It was like the Royal whatever you call it. That reticle was like slightly off of its centering. His like center reticle was like lower than it should have been, so you miss shots with it more often. They finally fixed that. I didn't see anything else on there that was like super good to know. They fixed the audio on the turbo powered Bullfrog, so that no longer has to be banned in tournaments, and fixed some various dev error issues and some subtitles on some of the crap. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it that everybody like knew about.
Let's talk about that accessibility picture you just added on.
Yep.
You saw the verify whips on the right?
Yep.
And he's killing Cloaksy with a freaking Molotov, or no, he beats Cloak up, or that's a Molotov, and then he beats Timmy Tenders up, and then generic TTV guy gets headshotted, and then Mr. Respectful, who's clearly Dr. Disrespect's getting beat with a shovel.
Yeah,
what's going on here?
Hilarious. Raven Software's trying to be funny, man. It's great. They are literally catering to the stream community, and I think this is like obviously a very small thing. Like it's showing that one of the accessibility changes is that the length of time that the kill feed text stays on screen can actually be edited, which ultimately is not that big of a deal. The only time where I would see this being actually a big deal is if, of course, you have some sort of like, reading disability or something like that where you need it to be on there, which is why it's categorized under accessibility. But also something that could actually be pretty helpful is like, hey, if you're doing a custom games tournament and you could put in the rule set, hey, everybody change your default kill feed to be from default to medium so that the casters in production have longer amount of time to be able to read the kill feed. That could actually be nice. I've really only had that be a problem every once in a while when there's like a lot of kills coming through. But I don't know, just something to think about. Otherwise, this is a small change, but what this kind of is a small thing that, in my opinion, kind of reflects, maybe not even on purpose, the larger scale of what's going on here, which is the catering to streamer, content creator, competitor communities, and how like this game in particular, but games in general, are becoming more and more and more in tuned with their streamer communities, and that's becoming a norm for these games. I was talking about this earlier today. Like, if games, when they're being made, developed, and marketed, etc., are used to maybe 2-3 years ago, used to think about their big streamers and content creators and competitors in terms of them taking up some sort of like 5% of the conversations at the table. Now it's a lot more like 20 to 25% of the conversations. Like, it's a huge piece of these games' ability to be successful, which is why you see these mass marketing campaigns on live streams and all kinds of things. So even just in the patch notes, adding in Whips, who is, Tim the Tatman's like, editor, like main go-to guy, and there's like this big internet joke about Whips not being verified, like that's on there. And then you've got Cloaksy, Tim the Tatman, Dr. Disrespect, who are like 3 of the biggest streamers period and entertainers together, putting them all in there as well is like kind of an homage to how important that community is for the health of the game.
Yeah, let's talk about this for 2 seconds. So there's 2 things that this kill feed change could make happen. They could help out people who are looking to get great screenshots and clips for content. First of all, people who like to get 5-ons with quick scopes and stuff, I could definitely see that helping them out. But what it doesn't help is this game's streamer mode still is not, basically non-existent. This allows stream snipers and people looking for these guys to have more time to figure out if that's the guy they just killed. I'm just saying. That's a perspective nobody's going to point out about
that's
it.
Fair. I
can't wait for them to add a streamer mode though.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see when they add that. It could be a Vanguard integration thing with like new code or something. I don't know, but yeah, I mean that's a good point. It could not help us that much, because there are times where like I'll kill a friend of mine or something in the streamer community. Like I killed Circus in the Gulag the other day. Circus is a competitor and a great Warzone player in the Gulag, and I killed him because I got lucky. And I didn't even notice because it was just on and off the screen really quickly. And then I like got tweeted at later, was like, "Yo, Gojj, I hate you now," or something like that, which is hilarious or whatever. But if I would have been on the kill feed for longer, I probably would have seen it. So that's actually not a bad take of like, hey, this theoretically could hurt stream sniping, or being hurt meaning like help it, make it more accessible for people. But regardless, interesting point. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, those are the only 2 real interesting points I get from that. But that's definitely something that they're trying to help us, but it might end up hurting big boys. But you can't cater to the 0.1%. We're moving on to the weapons, and I have a lot to say about this. I'm going to put it in a very few words. They're both cheeks.
As per mentioned earlier, Ironhide Shotgun, 410 Ironhide Shotgun to be exact, the Grav Assault Rifle are the 2 main weapons that have been released. And then you can get a Battle Axe melee weapon, which is a 2-handed melee weapon. It's a double bit axe. It's not a battle axe. I don't know why they called it that. It's not really a battle axe. Battle axe would be like New World, like medieval, fantasy, double-bladed, really cool looking axes. Is like not that.
Have you seen it? Have you seen the? Oh, I'm talking about the bundle. Let me not hype up a bundle. My bad.
I bet there's some. I will say, I bet there's some really cool bundles for it. That does make sense.
There's one out right now. Have you? Also, I'm just gonna talk about this because I just watched FaZe Jeb's freaking video on it. The battle axe is trash. First of all, it's not a very good weapon.
It's so slow.
Second of all, it's extremely hard to unlock compared to all of the other weapons. You have to go on a 3-kill streak, 15 different matches or games, or you have to do it 15 separate times. But you have to get 1 kill by melee, 1 kill by a headshot, and then like another kill by an execution or something, I think.
Oh, weird.
15 separate times, yeah, to unlock a battle axe. I mean,
that's
some dude's running at me with a battle axe, I'm fucking turning tail and running the other way. That's scary, man.
Yeah, it's a slow swinging melee weapon. It's a double 2-handed, so it's like not good if you're trying to like actually get kills with it. But hey, whatever. Coming soon. We mentioned this last episode. We won't harp on this for a while. The Lapis, the submachine gun, is coming with the haunting event, which is in like what, a week and a half or something like that. And then
I think it's the 21st.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I thought it started a little earlier than that. So 2 weeks.
They're giving us intel on it on the 18th.
Okay, there you go. So 2 weeks from now, you can unlock the Lapis, which is the submachine gun, fully auto submachine gun, lightweight prototype with reliable damage and good firing control, improved handling and range with a slower rate of fire. Great. And then the hammer and sickle, which is another melee weapon, and it's a dual wield melee weapon. So think like Kali sticks, except you have a sickle in one hand and a hammer in the other hand. Communism. I don't know. Soviet Union. That's what I think of when I think of hammer and sickle.
That's what I think of too when I see it.
So I guess that kind of makes sense via Cold War, but
Vanguard.
Yeah. Well. Oh yeah. Oh, Vanguard. Yeah, not Cold War. Kind of Cold War as well, but Vanguard in particular. I guess that's fair. But yeah, okay.
One thing before we move on to the next assault rifles. The Lapis Submachine Gun is going to be unlockable during the haunting event. There's going to be 9 separate challenges in both Warzone and Black Ops Cold War. They haven't released full details about this, but this is how the numbers event worked as well. That's how you unlock the Psy. That was the first weapon you could ever do it for in Warzone. Now you can do it with the Lapo whenever that happens. That's going to be in season. And one more fun fact about the weapons we were talking about is that the Grav assault rifle is actually the Galil, and I think that it was Black Ops 4. I think it was Black Ops 4 or Black Ops 3 that has it called the Grav, and it's obvious, like in the game, it calls it the Galil. So, yeah, just a little fun fact right there before we move on to the new unlock challenges. Nobody cares.
Yeah, weapon changes is what we need to talk about, which is only nerfs actually across the board, and we're going to talk about them. 4 of honestly the most used weapons in the game right now, especially if you're in the competitive scene, were all touched, which is Assault Rifle Hotel, aka the C58, the Assault Rifle India, aka the EM2, the Light Machine Gun Delta, aka the MG82, and the Light Machine Gun Alpha, aka the Stoner. All 4 got a nerf, at least somewhat on paper of a nerf. There was a recoil increase for both the EM2 and the C58, which, to be honest, is fair. Both those weapons hit like a truck right now. They're lower rate of fire, and the idea is that they're supposed to be like high skilled weapons. If you can hit headshots, if you can hit upper body shot, torso shots with them, they hit like a truck. It's just going to recoil a lot, so you got to be able to recoil control some. I noticed a little bit of difference on the EM2. And maybe just a hair of difference on the C58. It wasn't noticeable enough to where I wouldn't use them though.
Yeah, it's not that strong on both of those weapons. I mean, the EM2 is already hard to hit your shots with. It definitely is dominant in the comp scene, though. We both know that.
Yeah.
And then the next two, the MG82 is still very good. I don't think that the recoil increase on it is it doesn't take it out of top tier right now. And the Stoner rightfully needs to just. I don't want to get killed by it anymore. I'm sick of it.
Yeah,
I called that as one of the best guns and going to be one of the best guns in Warzone before Cold War even integrated. That gun was just dominant on Cold War from the day it dropped.
Yeah, the MG82 didn't feel that intense of a changes, even though they changed more. They increased the gun kick, the recoil, which I don't really know the difference between the two. Reload interrupt time increase and raise interrupt time increase. It still felt really good, especially with the MG82. You're just going to ADS down lanes and hold those lanes until you melt people with your bullet hose. The Stoner, I could actually feel the difference, the gun kick and the recoil increase on the Stoner, to a point where it's like, okay, this is a lot harder to use, especially at long range.
Yeah, for sure. The Stoner, I got killed by it a bunch of times. I didn't use it myself, but these kids' reticles bouncing all over the place.
A couple other things that happen: attachment changes. The Tiger Team Spotlight doesn't give you quite as much movement as it used to. Still really solid choice to put on your gun. It's just not quite as dominant of a choice. Again, all of these nerfs and changes are meant to give you more choices with your guns and attachments. That's kind of their idea with all of their changes. So Tiger Team Spotlight, maybe not as much of a necessity. I couldn't really tell a difference in movement, but then again, I don't have that keen of an eye, I suppose. For the OTS in particular, both the 40 round and the 40 round fast mag, they increased the ADS, or decreased the ADS speed, meaning it takes longer to ADS and a little bit longer to reload your gun as well on both of those. Tier. Yeah,
the gun's still top
it
tier.
Certainly is still a magazine that you want to use. The ADS time changes don't seem that significant. The reload time changes don't seem that significant. Still a very strong weapon at your close to close medium range. Specifically, if you're going to take it past close range, you need to add the target designator is the best attachment for it to increase its range.
Yep. Not that many weapon balancing changes for an entire season.
Yeah, I agree. Maybe Reloaded will have more. We'll see. I kind of doubt it, though.
Go by the operators. Alex Mason's back, everybody. It's not the original voice actor. He actually has some really cool lines in the new Zombies map. or he probably has them throughout all of multiplayer that touch back on like Victor Reznov and the things that happened in the original Call of Duty Black Ops campaigns and stuff. And there's also Fuse, great Sergeant Arthur Kingsley for pre-ordering. I don't know why they had to put that in the season 6 blog. And then we got new prestiges. And then from then on out, it's just store bundles. This was like a 30 to 40 gigabyte update for everyone last night. Overall, I'm going to go ahead and rate this update. Even with the map changes, it's like a 6.
Yeah, that's probably that's maybe a little generous, to be honest with you.
Might be a little generous, yeah.
I'd give it like
It's
a
not
5.5.
bad.
Yeah,
It's not bad, but it didn't really do anything.
But the map change is like sweet. We changed the map. Any changes to the map is a good thing in my opinion because it's content and it's good content. Otherwise, you know, we're sitting at an eh. It feels like we're waiting on Vanguard to get integrated, which is really where we're at. I will say this is completely off topic, to be totally fair. The Mason thing, that like, you know, cutscene at the beginning when you open up the game for season 6. I mean, is this not just quite literally a ripoff of Marvel and the Winter Soldier? Like, what are we doing?
You're talking about with Mason helping out Adler in the chair?
Yeah, bro, he's in the chair and they're like, you're juicing him up and going 9, 13, 4. I mean, like, dude, it's the same thing, right?
Captain America took that from Black Ops, bro.
Really?
Yes, Black Ops 1. Are you kidding me? That was the most iconic main menu in Call of Duty history.
You think Marvel
You're stuck in a chair that you can break out of, and then that's how you choose your game? That was the coolest thing ever.
Were they doing the numbers thing and like chanting in your head to like make you like?
All of the screens in front of you were showing the numbers while you sat there, and then the dude was telling you to get out of the chair, bro. Wow. Oh my god.
This is this is, you know, Gojj.
Don't edit this out. Do not edit
No, I'm
this
not
out.
going to, because it's a live feed here. I'm just thinking back, and I guess theoretically it would be a rip the other way because of the timing of when they came out. I just never processed that. Because
regardless, they both ripped it from somebody.
Yeah, maybe it's like a book somewhere or something. I don't know. Anyways, maybe somebody tell us how stupid we are that we didn't know like where that came from or that concept, because I mean, I guess brainwashing is like not like copyrighted anywhere, but I don't know, it felt really similar today in particular. But I guess you're totally right, like this is a harken back all the way to the original Black Ops, which I did play a lot of.
It's just recency bias. It happens to all of us.
Yeah, dude. You know, it's funny. You're gonna hear a quick story on original Black Ops. Original Black Ops was when I tried to play Call of Duty like somewhat competitively, like not competitively to a point where like I'm running like going for like a, you know, a CDL spot or something like that. But competitive.
We all did. They had wagers, bro.
Yeah, like I did wagers. I had like a set squad. Guess what my squad's name was?
What?
The Penny Squad. Stood for penetration. Anyways, let's move on.
Hey, let's talk about mine now. No, we got to do mine. I've been wanting to say this one for a while. On the original Xbox, or on the Xbox 360, when COD 4 and all that was popular, I was super duper competitive, just like that. Game battles, all that type of stuff. I was dominant at those games. COD 4, Modern Warfare 2, but my parents like stopped paying for my Xbox Live, and they didn't want me playing video games anymore because it was like all I did. Like literally, they basically like took away my internet. But to get by that and to have an account that had an active membership when I wanted to play, you could create like up to like a certain number of new Xbox accounts and get like a month free every time. Yeah. I had like 10 different accounts like that, and I remember it all started with me naming one "You Bloody Tampons."
Okay, dude. Whoa. That's way worse than mine.
And then the next name after that was Bloody Tampon PMS.
No. Edit this out. Cut it out. We're done. Move on. God, dog.
You started it, bro. I'm sorry. We were 12. We were all 12 at one point.
Gee, wait.
How old was I back then? When was COD 4, bro? I'm 26 now. I was probably like 13 for real.
Yeah, probably somewhere around there.
My friends loved that name, and when people wanted to shit talk me online, they would have to read that.
Yeah, that's freaking weird, bro. All right, moving on. Okay, so I think that's everything for season 6. We talked about prestiges briefly. There's just new prestige icons, and new prestige levels, and then some of the bundles. Of course, we're not gonna talk about all these because we're not pay to win over here. But the Berserker one's actually kind of cool.
I'm gonna send you a couple links of the Vanguard guns with 10 attachments.
Oh, to like pull these up on screen.
Yeah, I mean, they're not copyright. They were in the game. There's nothing, like, everything's fine about them. But
yeah.
You can. It's the pinned tweet, or no, it's not anymore.
Just
Here's
link
one
it to
from
me.
JGod.
Yeah, link it to me in Discord.
JGod was like a little kid in Discord in a candy store yesterday. When he got into the private match and it allowed him to use the gun, he was like, "I can't believe it, bro."
I bet he was
was
so
like, "Oh
pumped.
my god, yeah, dude, he was super hype. He was just by himself, just getting lit."
I
Here we
mean,
go.
you know, it's just hilarious that you can just use. It's still in the game, by the way. If you scroll down to the bottom of ARs, the STG is just down there, able to be unlocked.
Yeah, but you could actually, I mean, he did it in like the bot Warzone match, but you could, like, I was trying to set up a private match last night. I deleted these tweets after the night was over, but I was trying to set up a private match like at the same time that he was in the training mode. And yeah, they took it off like right then, right after I tweeted and did a poll. If anybody wanted to do it, it got like 1,000 votes in like 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Private matches were gone before I could get one started, but you could use every single attachment it had, and it has 2 different perks on them. We're about to get to look at it on screen, man. I mean, Twitter quality is not great, but
yeah, hold on, I gotta refresh because Twitter sucks. Yeah, that's crazy though. To be honest,
Attachments are
Oh, you're
confirmed.
so loud, J God. Holy crap, everything's fine. Yeah, there's the Grav, there's the STG on screen. You can see all the dots. That's crazy. The vital perk in the bottom right. There's 2 of them. So much stuff.
yeah, absolutely ridiculous. The whole thing is there. Just the whole thing just hanging out. Here goes the next one.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing that somebody just said in the chat too is like there are people that are hackers in Warzone unlocking these guns via like cheats and hacks and stuff. And,
That's what I'm saying. Once it's in there, it's never getting out.
Yeah, and using them in game, which is wild.
There's people running around as Ghostface right now from Scream, who hasn't even been announced yet, using an STG with 10 attachments and an M1 Garand with like 20 bullets with 10 attachments. Now, let's talk about this a little bit while we have it on screen. As you can see, it has a muzzle, a barrel, a laser, an optic, a stock, an underbarrel, a magazine, rear grip, and 2 perks. Now, in Vanguard, they're called a kit and a proficiency is the name of the perks. And then it has, on magazines, it's the caliber system. So that's how you change your damage amount and stuff. On this game, so far from what we can tell, there are no incendiary rounds, there are no frangible rounds, there are no I can't remember if when they were going through all the attachments if there was increased flinch, etc., etc., etc. But it is different from how it is in Vanguard, and these attachments are already balanced. Let's look at this right now. This picture you have up on screen, Gojj. 10 attachments on this weapon, and look how much the stats have changed.
Yeah, it's not a lot.
Even in the Warzone system compared to Vanguard's, and that's basically how it is on Vanguard. If you go with all 10 attachments, you're gonna have a gun that looks similar to this, where you're just changing everything back and forth.
Yeah. No, very interesting. I mean, I think their idea, like we mentioned on another episode, I believe, of like, hey, you could take an STG, make it act like an LMG, and you could also make it act like an SMG based on all of the different attachments that you can add into the actual gun. So I think that's their goal, and well, it certainly looks like an LMG on screen right now. I mean, it's ridiculous because of like the long barrel and all of these different things. But we'll link all this in the audio show notes as well, so just go through the description. You can find these links, and that'll certainly help with you guys if you want to check these pictures out. Of course, this is on Doug's Twitter as well as JGod's Twitter. But yeah, no, I mean, it's pretty crazy that people are able to unlock it, kind of like a sneak peek beforehand, and I'm very surprised by the very minimal changes that it actually makes to the gun in terms of Warzone stats.
Yeah, I'm not sure if this is a finished thing, and we're going to talk about this right now. It's something I've been wanting to talk about. So when I talked about the animals in Warzone on the new Pacific map, it got roasted, right? It's all from this guy on Reddit who posted all this information like 200 plus days ago at this point. Yeah, that whole shindig. Well, almost everything the guy's saying has been proven true since that moment. And one of the things that he stated was that there would be guns slowly added into Warzone before Vanguard was integrated, like 2 at a time. And
oh, really?
I swear to you, bro. And I can't think of another reason why we would see the M1 Garand and the STG here, unless and I'm just going to go ahead and spill the bag. There's already 4 blueprints that have been data mined. One of them has 7 attachments. The other one has 10. They're all different. And there's blueprints in the Warzone files already for all these different guns, bundles, as we would put it today. Yeah, I definitely think that's kind of what's going on here. I think they're getting ready. And I think we're going to slowly but surely get some of these guns so that they can not, just completely ruin the game. I mean, when Cold War was integrated and we got like 30 plus guns all at once, it was just pure chaos. Nobody knew what was happening. But if we get a couple of these at a time that they already know could be meta, because apparently the M1 Garand's 2-shot kill in Warzone.
Jeez.
Just what everybody was saying. Yeah, 2-shot kill in Warzone is what people were saying. It's got crazy kick, bro. I don't know how much of the Vanguard beta you played, but it's almost all the same. The STG's recoil looks the same. The gun sounds amazing. I'm going to have my own video soon of me using these.
Well, so the M1 Garand would act basically like a 2-shot DMR. Like, that's busted, right?
Kind of. We don't know yet. I'm not sure if that's 2 headshots or what's going on.
Yeah,
but
it could be like a Dragunov type field, to be honest with you. Because the Dragunov technically is like a headshot. Actually, I think it's 2 headshots, or a headshot and an upper torso shot. No, because that's maybe that's what it is. Headshot and then an upper torso shot, which theoretically the M1 Garand could act the same and it would feel the same, where it's absolute dog because of how much recoil it has. But if the rate of fire is twice the speed of the Dragunov, like, think about it. If you just take the Dragunov and increase the rate of fire by 2 times, it's one of the best guns of the game.
Yeah, it has so much kick though.
Yeah,
very hard gun to keep on.
Yeah.
This is just so interesting to me because this did all happen while I was just live trying to bang out as many tweets as I could. I think my keyboard was on fire at one point.
Yeah, sure.
Definitely interesting because we've been talking about it a lot on the podcast, and we've been trying to, I've been trying to let people know that this is probably what's going to happen. This is how these guns are going to be better than the other guns. But when you look at it in the gunsmith now, doesn't look that crazy. There's no incendiary rounds. There's no frangible. There's 2 perks now, which is huge. I mean, really, let's just think about that. You can run fully loaded, and you could run any other sleight of hand. Like, that's big. Yeah. And other than that, it doesn't seem that unbalanced to me. But we have to talk about what is the other gun's going to do to match this. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to draw back on Iron Trials to where you could get those classified weapons with 8 attachments, Cold War weapons. Well, we've talked about it before as well. I do believe that Modern Warfare and Cold War guns, I'm not saying this off of any new source information, but I do believe personally that they will get upped to 8 attachments. I have seen from the original Modern Warfare, like marketing and all that stuff, they were describing the gunsmith and showing 8 different attachment slots. It wouldn't be that hard to up it a little bit, to be serious with you. And I think that's what's going to happen. I don't think they'll end up with 10 though. I don't think we'll see 10 attachments on every gun. I think it'll only be Vanguard weapons.
Yeah, that probably makes the most sense. But again, with the minimal changes that this is showing at the very least, like, it could be a case where, hey, 10 attachments really equals, 8 or 5 or whatever. Just kind of depends.
This makes me think about destructible environments in the Pacific as well, because if they don't have the different caliber system and rounds that you can change to that do more destruction to environments, et cetera, more penetration. I mean, I'm sure with some of those perks can be like, even the Vanguard had a kit or a proficiency that gave you more bullet penetration. But we're not seeing anything about like FMJ to help you get through destructible environments. So that makes me worry. I mean, or not worry, but I don't really know exactly what's happening with the Pacific right now. I mean, Amos Hodge, the creative director, whoever he is, the director, the biggest guy at Raven who always talks to us, the community, said that everything that you see in Vanguard is coming. And I think that the movement and all that's coming and the recoil, but as it stands, from what I've seen and shooting the gun personally, it feels just like the same game, firing these weapons in Warzone as Vanguard.
Sure. Well, and I think that's, to be honest, that's a good thing. Yeah, that's
seamless
the goal.
Transition. It's finally going to happen seamlessly.
Hopefully.
We're seeing it already. They just didn't want us to see that these weapons are there yet. I promised you. They're totally fine with it being in the code and data mined. They just don't want it so obvious to the public.
Yeah, sure. That's totally fair. I mean, it was obvious to most people. I would say anybody that played the game, last night when the game dropped probably noticed it to some degree. So And again, you can still see it. Like if you literally go play pubs right now, like load up your game. If you haven't seen this, load up your game, go to one of your classes, go to ARs, and scroll all the way to the bottom. You'll see the STG down there. So I mean, it's already in the game. The question is just when will you be able to use it, which is interesting.
And as people in chat said, anybody with an unlock all tool, which people have been getting banned more for, are going to have these Vanguard weapons. You're going to get killed by a 10 attachment STG or a 10 attachment M1 Garand in
Right.
Warzone. It's going to happen to you if you play on PC and deal with cheaters often. So just be prepared for it. They'll probably be wearing the Scream outfit as well. I mean, just roll with the punches a little bit.
Yeah, to be fair, I want to be very clear. If you seek out someone to do this, I think it was Maverick, who we've had on the show before, talk about this. If you seek out someone to do this for an unlock all tool, you will most likely, if not definitely, get banned for doing it at some point. And it could be really, really detrimental to you. A lot of people get scammed trying to work with cheating companies and, unlock all tool companies and all that garbage, and whether it's individual or company based. Don't do it. Please don't do it. We don't incentivize you to do that ever. We don't do it, and we'll never tell anyone to do it. It could be really, really bad for you. So don't do it.
Never. And one thing that also to mention that while they've added these 2 Vanguard weapons by accident and allowed us to see them, what they did also do today or last night and got noticed sometime today, I made sure to make a post about it. The RAL LMG, the last Modern Warfare weapon to be added to Modern Warfare and Warzone, is just gone. It's just gone.
Yeah. Why
if
is
you did Damascus for it, if you unlock Damascus for this gun, it's just gone.
Where did it go?
It's just gone. They didn't say anything about it. It's just gone. I heard earlier that somebody was in the process of finishing their platinum to Damascus, and it's just gone. The gun's just gone.
I to be honest, I kind of forgot it was a gun. I'm gonna be totally frank. The RAL LMG just doesn't
I understand
exist.
it's not that big of a deal, and like the 1% uses it, but you can't just take it out. You can't just do that.
Imagine that's what they do for like in the future to like keep the number of guns down. Like every time they add 2 guns, they take out a gun and don't tell us which one it is.
We've talked about this before, that they have publicly stated that they have the permission to do this and that they can vault it. They don't need permission. It's their game, first of all.
Right,
but they have let us know that they will and can vault weapons when they choose. But at least say something. People are freaking out thinking their gun's really just gone. But it's just out of the game. And apparently it was dominating Modern Warfare multiplayer lobbies. I can't attest to that. Haven't played it myself. Or there was an issue with the variants. But you can't just... How does the whole weapon disappear? While 2 others get added by accident.
Right. No, I feel that on a deep personal level. Oh man,
What?
that's too funny. That's too funny. Oh well. Anyways, I think that's most of what happened last night. So again, like I said, chaotic night. It doesn't sound like it, chat? And audience listeners, that's what I woke up to this morning. I was like, what the frick just happened last night while I was sleeping? But overall, yeah. Vanguard guns, new changes to the map, and RAL LMG is gone. The big news.
Yeah, the only thing that I want to talk about from Cold War's side of the Season 6 update is the new Forsaken map is a ton of fun. If you like zombies, you should go play the new Forsaken map. I have a video coming out very soon talking about the best way to level up weapons now, and it is 100% on that map. I'm going to let you know. And it's so easy to do. You're going to get your weapon levels up so quickly. Not only that, but you can actually go and play a Call of Duty World at War within the map. There's a little emulator that allows you to do it. Here, I'll send you a little link for it right now, just for anybody who watches this later. It's very dope map, and the reason I'm talking about it is because even if you don't keep up with zombies, I'm sure there's going to be some people listening to this podcast that are glad I'm saying this, but even if you don't keep up with it, there was actually the Easter egg hunt happened today, and it's the final one for the Black Ops Cold War storyline, and Call of Duty Vanguard is going to be the prequel to the Black Ops Cold War zombie storyline because it's having zombies made by Treyarch. Right. Well, this is leading us into it. The main Easter egg was really, really cool. And spoiler alert, I'm going to tell you right now that Richtofen is back. Edward Richtofen, the man, he's not really Richtofen. If you keep up the zombies, you know what I'm talking about. They call him Eddie. He was brought back, and he's like the big twist of the zombies. And I think that that's dope. I'm excited for zombies moving into Vanguard. I don't play zombies a ton just because I don't have time. But man, my childhood is filled with memories of playing with my best friends all night. And doing the Knock There and Toten Easter egg and going back to where it all began, like you're seeing on screen right now, it put a big old smile on my face.
Yeah, that's really cool. I was watching the video where you were talking about it. I did play zombies back at World of War, and I played on a couple other CODs. I have not played Cold War Zombies at all because I've been so sucked into the Warzone scene, obviously. But that was really really cool to like go into the arcade and like actually travel back to the original map of World of War. Like that's dope.
Yeah, it was really, really cool. I mean, it was a little input laggy. It was almost like playing through an emulator, but I don't care. Like little fan nods like that are always really cool to me in games because they didn't have to do that, but they chose to put that in there, and that's where it all started. If you didn't know, Call of Duty World at War, nobody knew about zombies. It's one of the coolest Call of Duty facts I know. Nobody knew about zombies. It was like even some of the people on the development team at Treyarch didn't know that zombies was a part of their game. They just put it in at the end of the campaign. So you had to beat the campaign to even have access to play it. And then the campaign ended, credits rolled, and then you hear it like a ha ha, ha, and you're like in this zombies game. It was one of the coolest things gaming's ever done, and now it's like a mainstay in all of the Call of Duty games. It's my little nerd moment. That was really fun to do last night.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's why you missed the podcast recording earlier, and we're doing it at almost midnight now. So,
yep.
Hey, I respect it. I respect it now. I didn't know why, but now I respect it. So I can appreciate it for sure. But yeah, really cool. So yeah, Zombies aficionado here, Doug, is going to keep us updated on that as we go forward as well, of course. But I think that's all I've got, Doug. Anything else you wanted to talk about tonight before we move on to the last kind of like topic of conversation?
The Ghost of Verdansk event, I'm just gonna say it. It's not zombies this time. It's like Ghost. It's like zombie ghosts. Like they
I'm
have
excited
like a ghost
about that.
thing around them.
I think that'll be cool.
It's different. It's gonna have the same mechanics as the last haunting of Verdansk. Basically, you have to collect souls to get brought back in or whatever. But it's gonna be really really cool. And I hope that's not like spoiling anything for anyone. But it's gonna be a spectacle, man. I can't wait for it to happen again. One of my favorite things that I hope is well done, and it looked like it was from what I've seen from it, is during Zombie Royale, you know how the zombies glowed blue, and when they jumped, you could see the flame behind them, and then when you were like the last team left, all you see is just zombies jumping everywhere. I want that same feel of the scale of the battle that you're trying to have to just stay alive, much less fight other people. It was really fun.
That's a really good take. I definitely want it to be like chaotic like that and really like cool and different rather than just like a new game mode, like a limited time game mode. So I respect that for sure. Well, I think the last topic of conversation you and I just wanted to briefly touch on, again, we are a Warzone podcast. We're going to always be a Warzone podcast until it goes away, and then we'll expand into other games. And a part of that expansion is, hey, at the end of each episode, we're going to talk if there is news, which over the next coming months there will be, of some of these new games coming out. And so we're going to very briefly, we're going to try to keep it under about 5 minutes or so, just mention Battlefield beta. The beta is out currently. The open beta is out. Technically, it's an early access until I think tomorrow, which would be October 8th if you are listening to this later. But beta is out. Both Doug and I have played it fairly extensively. I guess, Doug, I'll kind of give you the floor first to talk about what your first impressions were of the game and where you think maybe the future of the game could go, and then I'll do the same, and then we'll wrap up the episode.
I'm playing again tonight, but I spent my first hour playing the game talking to Gojj because he was in my stream chat asking how to make your controller work.
Yeah, I'll talk about that in a second.
The whole time, man, I had so many people coming in. How are you in? How are you in? There's so many problems, and I don't want to sound like I'm somebody against Battlefield, but the whole thing was just... I like the game. I will say this. I'm going to buy the game 100%. I'm still going to get the game. I have hope. And they did state that this is an old build, several month old build. And you can conjecture about that all you want. Why would they use this? We don't know about video game development. They know about video game development. Let them do their damn job. But there's a whole hell of a lot of issues with this. To me, the guns just don't feel weighty. It just feels like I'm on an endless loop of spawn, die. And I understand multiplayer games are like that, but it's more like spawn. If I don't get a vehicle, which you very well may not, and if the freaking thing where you call in the vehicle doesn't let me call in a vehicle because there's too many on the battlefield, I'm sitting there playing running simulator all game. I run all the way to a point, and then somebody else takes the point, and then there's nobody there to fight. And half of the lobbies are filled with AI. Like literally everybody I kill is almost an AI. I think I played one game yesterday to where it wasn't. And on the good side of things, it's a beautiful game, even with bad textures like it has right now, not fully developed and all that. And the tornado is awesome looking. Like, I just think that whole caveat and like it's a gimmick. It really is a gimmick. It's gonna wear off fast, but a lot of potential. Ton of potential. It just also feels like with the movement system the way it is right now, which you can absolutely haul ass in this game. You can move quickly. If you're going down a hill, you can catch a mean bunny hop after you slide in, and you could just be going faster than a car next to you. It's actually insane, some of the movement you can do on this game. But to me, the core gameplay just doesn't feel, and I love Battlefield. People are going to always see me as a COD guy because this is how they know me. I've been playing Battlefield for as long as I've been playing Call of Duty. And Battlefield 1 was one of my favorites. Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4 are both great. I remember all the launch issues with those games, but this game feels like it's struggling with some type of identity crisis between being Battlefield 4 and being Call of Duty. And sure. I don't know how to put it. And I think a lot of the issues could also be that we're stuck playing this one map that has a lot of open space and nothing to do between it. And we're also stuck playing Conquest instead of I understand Conquest is objective based, but it's basically a glorified domination.
Yep.
Instead of like Battlefield 1 had the breakthrough game mode where you had to get a point and then it's your new spawn point for good. The defense can't take it back. They get pushed back.
Yep.
And then you have to get pushed back more, or rush. Everybody loves rush, but this game mode just don't feel like it to me. I feel like I'm spending all my time looking for people. And then by the time I find them, an AI shoots me in the back of the head because he locked on me through a freaking bush at 200 plus meters.
Okay, let's don't give the AI credit. They were not good, but there were occasionally times where they could get kills. No, I agree. Something I said, and I think you said it great with the identity crisis thing. I said this on Twitter. I had this conversation back and forth between JGod and some other people. JGod had said on Twitter, hey, if I like this game, I will begin covering it on my second YouTube channel. And he publicly stated, I do not like this game. I will not be covering it on my YouTube channel, basically is what he said. And so there was this conversation back and forth about why and what he didn't like. And he was like, I understand it's a beta, bugs are going to happen. That's not why I didn't like it. I didn't like the gameplay, etc. And Doug said it best. Identity crisis. They were trying to make the game, in my opinion, more accessible for people that didn't play a lot of the Battlefields in the past. And so they're trying to bring in new players, which is a noble cause, right? And then still trying to harken back to the old Battlefield days. And so when they release this beta and when they release the game, Conquest is there. Classic Battlefield domination type game style. There's A, B, C, D, E, F to go capture. You and your team of 64 run around the map trying to capture those. It seems chaotic. There's little to no structure to the way you play that objective unless you're an absolute unadulterated sweat. There was one game where I played with Halite and Stanman, and we as a trio almost single-handedly won our entire team the game after we were down by like 400 points, which if you know Battlefield, that's like an absurd amount. We lost by like 10 at the end. It was crazy close because we played the objective, but running around just capping flags and then leaving didn't feel insanely fun to me. The thing I'll give Battlefield credit for, sniping in particular, but getting kills in Battlefield does feel rewarding and is fun. I'm gonna even pull up on our page. I got this sniper clip where I sniped somebody out of a helicopter. Its Twitter quality is terrible, but it was like, once I hit this clip, it like harkened back to the good old days where I freak out. The Top Gun sound is playing, like I'm playing Top Gun music in the background. Like it was like it was such a satisfying clip of like, oh, I did something. So that the killing people feels satisfying. The win condition does not feel satisfying. Like going around and capping flags does not feel satisfying. So I totally agree that like breakthrough play, game mode or even rush would be a lot better of an option. But they kept Conquest in for the beta in order to kind of harken back to the Battlefield OGs. But if you go to a Battlefield subreddit, holy crap, they are ripping it apart. So,
yeah, and people act like it's just me. Like they have been tearing this game a new one over there. This isn't Battlefield. It still feels like Battlefield to me. It just is having an identity crisis. There's two more things definitely worth talking about too. It's having the same problem as Vanguard, and it's because of the microtransaction push that publishers are making for operator and bundle skins. And it's because there are no factions. They say you're the Russian team and you're defending it, but you're playing as an American. Like, and the people on the other side look the exact same as you. They just have a red dot above their head.
Yeah.
That takes you completely out of the immersiveness of the game. That I feel like Battlefield 1 is the most immersive Battlefield experience I've ever played. I think that's why I loved it so much. You really felt like you were in a war, and you felt like you were in the time period the war was set in. This new one, buddy, you're driving Tesla trucks around and shit. They go slow as hell. The physics engine feels bad. You can't hardly fly worth the shit anywhere. Spotting system doesn't work well. I understand this is a 5-month-old build. The faction problem really does. I mean, that's driving those Battlefield fans on that Reddit insane.
Yeah. And I will also say, like, when we're thinking of bringing in new players and new players to Battlefield, like, that's a really good thing. So it's a noble cause for them to change the game slightly to really try to cater to these new players. The problem is they change the game slightly to cater to new players, which are pissing off old players. Then the new players that come in are attracted to it slightly, play for a little while, and then get bored and say, well, my original franchise that I enjoyed, Apex, Call of Duty, etc., is just a better version of this, and I like Battle Royale, so then I'm leaving as well. So they kind of send themselves up a creek without a paddle. Like, they don't really have any options either way now, because both player bases, just based on the beta so far, have been like, eh. OGs have been like pissed, but
they had such a chance to hit it out of the park this year. This really could have been one of their best years to just have a dominant title that was rivaling Call of Duty. Okay, it's not going to get beat ever, pretty much, unless it has a catastrophic meltdown. But they had a chance this year, just due to all like the Cold War's bad reception, everybody, and I think we all did it to ourselves as gaming fans and wanting to see more. When we saw that first cinematic trailer, buddy, I remember losing my mind. It was so well choreographed and everything to just give us all nostalgia and make us feel great. And then we noticed that there was 3 seconds of gunplay in that, and that was for a reason. The gunplay still just doesn't feel right. And the one other thing that's definitely worth mentioning is that there is no teamwork in this game.
Well, yeah, and
there is no teamwork.
Exactly.
There is no squad element. You don't choose a class anymore. You pick your gadgets.
Yeah,
like in the revive like I've been revived once. I used to play other Battlefields, and I would get revived 20 times and be screaming, "Let me die!
Yeah,
I want to go somewhere else." Like, the game just doesn't feel like Battlefield to me too. I can't believe I just said that out loud. It's something just doesn't feel right.
Yeah, I will say, I think we gotta wait for the official game to drop. New maps. That map that we have is cool. It looks cool and it looks beautiful. It's very, 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 very open. So it just kind of seems like unorganized chaos. People running around capping flags, then losing the flags, then capping them, then losing them. And again, the nature of Battlefield. I think what I will say is this, and then we can kind of move on and finish up the show, because I don't want to talk about this forever. Of course, dropping a Battle Royale in the Battlefield engine, in the Battlefield game, and the way it's played, I think could go well. It'll be difficult, but it could go well. It could also flop, but it could go well. And I think it's almost necessary at this point to have some sort of Battle Royale or Battle Royale adjacent game mode. The other game modes that Battlefield can offer are what I'm excited about. So when the game drops, I'm certainly going to play it and look for those types of game modes to have fun on. Right now, it feels like a game that I can maybe hop on for like an hour and a half with some friends late at night and have some fun with, and that's it. It doesn't feel like a content-driven game. It doesn't feel like a streamer-driven game. It's very unorganized and chaotic for viewers to try to keep track of what the hell's going on in the game.
It's hard to keep track of it as a player.
Yeah, true.
The UI is horrendous.
So overall, not too positive an outlook on it. If they could drop a Battle Royale, great. Even if they can't, if they could drop some really interesting new game modes, the portal and all that stuff that we talked about in the past, where you can see and go look at all yourself, it could be really exciting things. The question is, how is it going to be implemented and where the future of Battlefield will be? And this goes back, and this is where I'm really going to rope this conversation all the way back to Warzone and what we mentioned earlier with the verify whips thing. This whole new gaming world that we're living in is not necessarily dictated by Battle Royales, but it is dictated, and this is data-driven in particular as well, it is driven by the streamers, content creators, YouTubers that surround that game and build up the hype for that game. We talked about this earlier. If it was 5% 2 years ago, 3 years ago, it's now 25%. It's so much more valuable to be plugged into those communities, and this game doesn't feel like a streamer, content creator, YouTube-friendly type game. And I'll be really curious in the future how, with these new game modes, etc., how it can cater to those people. And then I would even venture to say, how could Battlefield somehow enter into some sort of competitive landscape as well? I'm not saying, and I got roasted for this earlier, I'm not saying it needs to be Call of Duty. I'm not saying you need to have Call of Duty-esque tournaments every other day on Battlefield, but can it eventually get to some sort of esports, some sort of competition to create more interactive events for the community to watch and put on? Like, think of like a 64v64 content creator Battlefield like tournament. It would be insanely entertaining. It would be almost RNG. I mean, there's obviously really talented people that play Battlefield that could do wonders against a bunch of other content creators, but like, it's not like you could have 64 people in a Discord call giving comms to each other. You know what I mean? Like, it'd be teams of 4 all having, maybe they have like a battle strategist that is like typed out orders for each squad. Like, you get really intensive with it, but like those types of events and those types of like opportunities for the streaming world and content creation world to come together and make something out of it could be prove really useful for the game. But they really have to release some sort of mode that is like caters to that type of
They have it. They have
style.
that game mode. Portal is what their solution to this issue. Just going to talk about this very briefly as well. Portal is their solution to that issue. Portal mode is going to have custom servers where you can change everything. And I remember when they were unveiling parts of it, streamers were a lot like Courage JD and Jack Frags and them, Westy. I'm not sure who all got to, but when they were announcing parts of the game, it showed their custom playlist that they made for Portal mode, and you'll be able to use when the game goes live and play your creator's own created game mode and stuff. We're talking like on old Battlefield 1942 and Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4 maps, you can do that stuff. And one of the ones that they showed in that trailer was it was like 64v64 knives only. Like, there is going to be potential like that for this game. What I have to say is I'm a bit worried about Hazard Zone. It's supposed to be like Escape from Tarkov-esque. It's a squad-based raid mode where you go in and you extract and you gain levels and experience and all that type of stuff by extracting and surviving with your squad. It's way too late in the cycle to not have said anything about it after delaying the game, in my opinion. You can go the Warzone route of doing the Warzone and Apex route of trying to be secretive and quiet about your game mode and not saying anything about it, deny its existence, all you want, blah, blah, blah. But you can't delay the game. And then when people have questions about this game mode that you're claiming are still coming for launch, not come out with any information about it. The only information about it right now was data mined from the beta, and there's nothing else out there about it. I just don't think it has as much focus as I originally thought it would, and that's worrying me about it. But the Portal mode could keep this game alive for years to come. It really, really could.
Yep, and I agree. I mean, it's the same kind of concept with Halo custom games, Halo Infinite, potential in the future, except Halo Infinite actually has a competitive scene that they're able to foster and utilize. HCS is coming, $250,000 of prize pools coming with HCS. Like, there's a lot going into that competitive scene to continue to prolong the life of it, and of course nostalgic value, etc. So I know you sent me this Halo Infinite clip, and this is kind of like
it's like a only in Battlefield moment, but it's the only in Halo moment.
Yeah.
And it's just, I was going to send you another clip of the Battlefield beta and then tell you to compare that to this game.
Yeah.
Who says that it's struggling badly with issues. Like, this game's beta everything about this beta made me so excited for Halo. And I think we can wrap the show up with our final thoughts. And I want to ask you this. I'm going to give my take real quick, and it's very quick. I think that Halo Infinite, after playing extensive hours on all of these betas to make sure that I actually have my own opinion on them, all 3 of the major releases, Call of Duty Vanguard, Halo Infinite, and Battlefield 2042, and I thoroughly believe that Halo Infinite wins multiplayer shooter of the year.
Interesting. Yeah, that's a good take.
Thoroughly believe. It's just so freaking fun, man.
I think I'll probably be a little bit biased to say probably the same as well. Halo is like a super nostalgic throwback, like what I grew up on kind of vibe. So I could feel that, but also comparing the 3 betas, like I totally agree with you. It was the most clean, had the most potential.
And it was already great.
Yeah.
And it just gotten delayed, and everybody's like, huh? And it's free. It's the first free Halo game ever. Like, what?
Yep. Oh, I totally agree. I think it's a great take. It's something we can end on for sure. Hey, thank you, audience, viewers, listeners, YouTube, podcast, Spotify, iTunes, wherever you are. Thanks for listening today. I appreciate it. This was a fun one. I think this will be fun to kind of look back on in a couple of months to see where we're at with all of these games that are dropping soon. Really, the next month and a half, which is awesome. So again, thank you guys for tuning in. Of course, Doug, we can finish off the show as we always do. Where can people find you? What are you working on? Anything else you want to talk about?
You can find me on twitter.com/Doug Dagnabbit is my @handle. You can also find me. I'm the guy who handles everything that's Modern Warzone related. So you can find me at Modern Warzone. I'm going to be working on a good bit of YouTube content these coming weeks on just my thoughts of the main 3 titles. Like, these are really, I'm just a typical gamer, bro. These are my 3 games I've always played growing up. Like, one game I wish I had more time to play right now is Far Cry 6, just because I want to get my hands on it. But I'm doing a ton of content focused on all 3 of these games. Even if the internet tries to tell me my opinion's invalid on Battlefield and I'm a COD shill, I still like the game. I've talked to developers, I've talked to their community manager, even after the things I've said on Twitter, and told them, like, hey, I still believe in this game. I think it has a ton of potential. It can be great. And I don't think that anything that's going on right now necessarily may be those individuals' fault. I do think that game can be great, and I'm looking forward to making content based around all 3 games, especially moving into this Vanguard integration. Things are going to get real spicy.
Yep, I appreciate you saying all that, and I totally agree. Keep doing your thing, brother. You're killing it. I'm GrandmasterGojj. You all know that I do Warzone commentating, casting, if you will, all the time. I did 4 tournaments last week. This week was very chill, which is great. So I got a little bit of a breather. I think next week we got 1 or 2 coming as well. So I'll keep you guys updated on those tourneys. But otherwise, streams, all that good stuff, continuing to vibe out. Twitch.tv/GrandmasterGojj, as well as, of course, on Twitter and then my own personal YouTube. But hey, we got to give a shout out to the podcast YouTube channel. If you want to go watch our channel's VODs, you can watch our entire recording from the podcast, as well as us pulling up the actual, things we referenced on screen and new overlays and all that good stuff. Like we mentioned, Modern Warzone Weekly on YouTube. We're going to have our own custom YouTube link within the next, I believe, 14 days or so. There was actually a time limit on when we could get that. But otherwise, just search us on YouTube. You'll find us. There was a VOD from last week. We have our VOD from this week. And we're going to be releasing these quote-unquote bonus episodes from previous episodes that are not on audio and not on our VOD with some of our old guests like T-Dog, Smitty, etc. So we'll keep you guys updated on that. Please subscribe to our YouTube. We're on the push to our first 100 subscribers, and I'm sure we'll be pushing for 1,000 soon after that. And as this continues to grow and gives us more opportunities, we're going to be making Patreon, etc. We'll be able to make more content together, more content that you guys can enjoy, be informed upon, or be entertained by. We'll see. So otherwise, thank you guys for the support on all of our socials, personal and otherwise. And overall, what a great episode, Doug. Thanks for joining me. Yeah, that's it. All right, peace. I need to wrap it up. I'll see you guys later.
All right, everybody, have a good one. Thank you for listening.